Welcome to the bold analysis. The politics of this country as 2 months to general election has shifted the focus to political propaganda, perception creation, perhaps through crowding, and also the latest index in the opinion poll. And I want to ask a question. What do you think is the true indication of opinion polls that are commissioned by Raila Odinga's presidential team and opinion polls that are commissioned by William Ruto's presidential team? Because this is part of what they are using to make sure that they make strategic political decisions. The latest by the Star was proving that Raila Odinga stands at 44%, with William Ruto coming at 38%. This is been there for some time. Remember, it was coming at a time when, from the start of May, before they named the running mate, they were all standing they were tying at 42, but then Ruto dipped down. Latest one was also showing that William Ruto's support in central Kenya had gone down by almost to nearly 52, around 50%. That was really a bad news. Now, today I decided that instead of sitting here to dissect through these opinion polls, I decided to seek an expert to help us dissect the opinion poll. And I think this will help us to breathe fresh ideas and fresh energy in our analysis, especially on this issue of opinion poll. According to the Opinion Polls Act, the last one will be done 14 days to general election. So that probably will be around 25th or 26th July. But for now, we are going to expect more and more. This is a very tool. This is the very tool that has also been worrying William Ruto's presidential strategist. When the national intelligence, when a report was floated by government officials who were purposely saying that that is the official position, or where the national intelligence popularity of Raila Odinga in the national intelligence stands at 65%. So there is something that I resorted to seek answers, because questions that Kenyans have been asking is, how credible are these opinion polls? Secondly, what do you think is the impact in this election? Why should people even care? Those are questions that people have been asking. So I had an exclusive interview with Kamadi Amata. Kamadi Amata is been a radio journalist for the last 14 years. He covered 2005 referendum, 2006 referendum, 2007 general election, 2013 and 2017 general election, and is a political affairs reporter at Mtaani Radio here in Nairobi, and also worked on data journalism. He's also a data journalist working under Code for Africa. So he's going to give us a very interesting view in terms of how opinion polls, the role of the opinion polls in this election. So there is something that people need to do, that before you consume any poll, what should you know? And he mentioned that there are two types of opinion polls. So let's listen in that, so that you will happen then to make your own judgment. Which one do you think is talking about here?
There are different kinds of opinion poll that people may want to associate themselves with. We have opinion poll like the one we call a tracking poll. In this case, what do you do in tracking polls? You ensure that you are tracking changes of popularity over time, with some audience to test change over a period of time. So there is a particular sample that qualify for you to do an opinion poll. If you do an opinion poll with a sample that is less, that is the one that the statistician prefer, then your opinion poll will suffer credibility tests. So there must be a sample that qualifies you for you to conduct that opinion poll. These samples may vary. The sample may be the sample of a whole population. It has registered voters and non-registered voters. And the sample may be, if you are doing this opinion poll, you must be specific that I'm going to interview 5 people, and these 5 people must be registered. Have the push polls. So in a push poll, this is a form of a negative campaigning that is disguised as a political poll. As in, you're putting there a push poll. You want to push Kevin. You see, this is somebody maybe, and that's why we came up with an opinion poll in Kenya to be a law, because a push poll it tends to push a particular product or a particular candidate or a particular agenda. You are pushing, even if the simple word pushing. A track poll is you're tracking development of something over a period of time. I'll give you a simple example. There's a time William Ruto in Kenya used to have up to 50-something%. Even before the Right Honorable Raila Odinga declared his interest in the presidency. But they have been doing a tracking poll that have been showing the narrowing, the number is increasing, or is coming, something is happening. So that is a tracking. You have been tracking over a period of time. But for a push is for once. You come up with an opinion poll, you throw it there, and then you disappear. So it confuses, it creates a debate for some 2 or 3 hours, or 2 to 3 or 2 to 3 weeks, and then or it can even be used to introduce a product. You can come and push that product, put it there, and then you go. People will discuss it for 2 to 3 days, and then it will be all over in our supermarkets. The candidate will be over. Like what they did to Igade. They did a push poll, throw it there. It was having around 23, where the others were having around 40 something. For now, it's almost they are doing tracking, and then you start doing tracking, and then they are almost equal. 42, it was 42, 43 the last time they checked. So that's the difference.
You now got the difference between tracking poll, the track poll, and the push poll. So I don't know whether so far as to what you've consumed, which one falls where. But there are things that you also need to consider for an opinion poll to pass the credibility threshold. The credibility of what is done. If you check this, you realize that this is one that you should not. So I wanted to find out this, and he just gave us a snippet of what is in the Opinion Polls Act.
Somebody will just come out from nowhere and just conduct an opinion poll. So that's why Kenya had to put together a law that will guide whoever is doing that opinion poll. In this case, the person who commissioned that opinion poll must be known, must be indicated in that opinion poll when releasing the results, who commissioned it, who paid for it, and what was the sample size, and everything that it has to be captured, so that people know, okay, if people can make perception that those people, we know them are for this, are those people know them for this, but you have explained for them.
One thing that I need to mention, the context of the Kenyan politics now, is that unlike Raila Odinga, who started campaigns December this year, William Ruto started campaigns 4 years ago. And I think from the time then his campaigns got momentum, somewhere around 2019, he had not declared his bid for presidency, but he had shown that was out there seeking for presidency. And at one point, he was at the peak of it. So I want to tell you why really there is a bit of a jittery about these opinion polls. But something that needs to be seen, there are polls that also show election periphery.
And then the last one that I want us also to check is the one that we call exit poll. Exit poll was only used in Kenya once, in 2002. An exit poll is, you conduct this exit poll during the voting day. For example, when the voting goes on, then you tend outside the polling station in various places and ask people, whom do you think is gonna win this election, for example. Of course, people will tend towards whom they have voted. That's why it's called exit poll. It has no impact to the elections, because the results already, you are only interviewing people who have already casted their votes. It's not those who are not, still yet to cast their votes. I want to take you to an opinion poll that was, let me take you to the US, pitting Hillary and Trump. Majority of people knew that Hillary was going to win, but the last opinion poll, the exit poll, showed that actually it was Trump going to win, and people did not understand the tracking. The other opinion poll was showing that Hillary is going to win, but the exit poll showed Trump was going to win. So that's why you should not put all your eggs in one basket. You should put your eggs in this different basket of opinion polls. That's what I'm saying. It's also very important, or the material, very important, or material that to ask people who is going to win. Because I have now voted. You're asking somebody who has already voted. It gives some significance.
In the eye of this opinion polls, which one can you point out that perhaps was a push, and which one would you feel that was not a push but was just for traction? You can make that judgment. So in this analysis, I want us to look at why Kenya Kwanzaa are panicking about the opinion polls. Why do you think there is a bit of that panic? Because you realize that the one by NIS has been causing a lot of push and pull between William Ruto's campaign team and the government, and they've then come out to discredit all the opinion polls. While the let's say the common argument has been that they are setting a ground to reject the elections, but I think there is more to that. Kindly subscribe to this analysis and also give us your feedback on this.
Hii mambo ya opinion polls, ati kura za maoni, nataka niwaambie wa Kenya na wale ambao wanapeperusha haya maneno, please stop trying kudanganya wa Kenya. Mimi nataka niwaambie, juzi tu katika taifa la Zambia kulikuwa na yule alikuwa rais wa Zambia. Yeye akawa na deep state, akawa na mamlaka, akawa na majeshi na pesa, lakini walipoenda kwa kura juzi tu, yule wa upinzani ambaye hakuwa na deep state, ambaye hakuwa na majeshi, ambaye hakuwa na pesa, akashinda, kwa sababu wananchi wa Zambia walikuwa wamesema, hata mkileta opinion poll mlete nini, tumekataa, tumeamua rais atakuwa mtu fulani. Kwa hivyo sisi hapa Kenya,
one of the reasons why Musalia Mudavadi, William Ruto and their team are struggling so much to discredit the opinion polls, perhaps they may not look at the viability of whether what it's saying is true or wrong or right, but the media role in these opinion polls is causing a lot of jittery. Let me explain this. According to I think an index on trust index on general public, the Kenyan public, or the publics trust media than even the state. They trust media than even those politicians. So when the opinion bodies release those polls, like even TIFA or Cinever or so, and the media balloons or magnifies that the news from those political polls, polls, people consume that. Then the more media takes that, does that. For example, if Cinever does, someone in remote areas, or people in the villages, or people who do not really have the know-how, consume that as a Citizen TV opinion poll, or a NTV opinion poll, or a KTN opinion poll. So what happens? And people trust the media. So whatever is going to be laid there, the name of the company, the identity of the company does not sound loud. And it's not loud because it's not a big brand. The big brand is the media house. The more media house balloons the findings of these opinion polls to general public, the public consumes them and trust those because of the space of the media. If it would be that the opinion polls are just finding a way they can do it without including the media, I can tell you that the attack on those, the criticism on those opinion polls would have gone down. But media is really at the center of that. Now, I think there is something that you might have realized, that as we go towards the general election, 2-month general election, the focus has changed from issue-based polls to candidates' popularity. This is what is happening. The candidature of William Ruto and Raila Odinga are anchored on different aspects. Raila Odinga is seen as a reformist and the institution of Raila Odinga. Then there is the personality of William Samoei Ruto. So when an opinion poll is done and there is a direct comparison, a sharp focus on Raila and Ruto, Ruto seems to lose that. However, Ruto has a popularity gain, or if this opinion will be done on Hustler Nation, on those slogans, Ruto is very good on sloganeering. So the opinion polls is not looking at what is there. The opinion polls is not even asking about what is on your manifesto, whether people are voting based on your manifesto. People are talking about the plan that you really brag that you have. The opinion poll is focusing on personalities. And if you remember, during William Ruto's interview with NTV, he came out to say that I want to talk about bottom up. Honestly, at this moment, the focus is on the two candidates. And to that level, he seems to be losing the battle. However, the winning perception is also a big influence in this election, because remember, the same polls have been showing that there are close to 20% undecided voters. These undecided voters have also been given another option in the name of George Wajakoya.
In opinion polls, you have heard about undecided votes. So these undecided votes, for example, in Kenya now, according to the latest polls, it's ranging between 6 and 12. That is a huge number. That's like 2-point-something million registered voters. If all can decide based on opinion poll that we have seen candidate A is leading, so we are all going to give our candidate A our votes, and then we are saying, okay, they can also decide and saying we have seen candidate B, if you add in this, it will overtake candidate A, so we should go to candidate B. There's also, that's on the positive side. You have also heard of swing votes, that votes that can still be persuaded to follow a particular individual. So this opinion poll was conducted, and based on those number of swing votes or swing areas where you can go, it can go either way. It can persuade this group of individuals to go a certain direction. The other thing, which is an advantage to a leading candidate, it's the perception. Opinion poll is the perception. So there are those who will say, candidate A is leading, so I'll just go and vote candidate A in. Candidate B is losing. I don't want to join a losing team, and that's why it's a significant.
But could this also be possible that the Kenya Kwanzaa team have captured, or rather have commissioned their own opinion polls? And I started by saying that they have done their own opinion polls, and those polls are not showing them good results. So the only way is to discredit anything, simply because if someone was commissioned to do William Ruto, an opinion poll for William Ruto, it's very difficult for that person to tell William Ruto the truth. Most likely they will try to be friendly, because again, they don't want to mess with His Excellency. So I see that as a possibility. But I also want to point out that if there are opinion polls that someone should make sure that he avoids, is the social media, because they're not scientific. When, for example, there was a time that Mutahi Ngunyi did an online Twitter poll, and for the first time, the rates was so skewed high between Raila and Ruto. Of course, the people who supported Ruto were more, but it was more compared to people who support Raila. Now, one thing, there is also one that I find very ridiculous. If you like Raila, retweet for Raila. Then if you like Ruto, if you want Ruto, like for Ruto. Most likely, people who are in Twitter know how Twitter works. When you retweet, it's going to be in your timeline. Some people doesn't want politics to be in timeline. So majority of people may choose to like, whether they like the candidate or not, but because of interacting with social media. Secondly, if you're telling me that retweet for Ruto and like for Raila, this is one person that can do those two tasks. He can do both, because in Twitter you can retweet and like a video. So you'll find out that at the end of the day, if you conducted a poll on retweet and tweet, it's the most ineffective and bogus opinion poll, because one person is going to retweet, the same person is going to like. So, and again, it's more easier for someone to like a video or like a photo than retweet, because if retweet, it's going to be in my timeline. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's your take on opinion polls, and what do you think is their significance in this election? But I've then done a recap on why Kenya Kwanzaa are panicking over that.